Hi and welcome to today's Lydias Ladies Faith tips. I wanted to share with you a really great book that helps me time and time again. Prideful Soul's Guide to Humility. Now, I don't know if you've read this book or if you've read it once, you should be reading it again, because even the author, it's so funny when he writes, he's like, when he wrote the book with his co-author, he was looking quickly for the pages that he wrote to check how did it sound and stuff like that. And that's so me. Now, pride is something where you don't really want to get help, or you're so used to thinking and doing stuff independently, which is extremely easy for me because that was how I was raised, to be strong, independent, all of the kind of things. I'm sure ladies, you can relate to that one. But this book really shows you what pride can do and how it can be so destructive, and how it really goes against God's plan. Now, obviously, you can be proud of your kids when they're doing something great, or if you've done a great achievement, but there's the ugly side of pride, ladies. You know, the one when you need to get advice about going on that trip or going on something, or that dating relationship, and you're like, it feels okay, or I want to do it this way, and you just don't get any advice. It's that type of thing. Being humble to think like, there's a situation here and I need to get the full perspective, and that's what wisdom is. It gets the full perspective. But pride is like, I can see it my way, I've got my tunnel vision, I know what I'm doing, I can tick my box. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously he goes through a bunch of different stuff, talks about like pride, humility, the problem with it and stuff, how to walk humbly, being humble in a discipling relationship, in parenting, in marriage, in leadership, in suffering, in convictions, and just how to pursue humility, which is what every single one of us who call ourselves Christians should be doing. And then he talks about times when pride is, if it is ever good, okay? So don't ever think that it's never good. There are times and situations, as you know, Ecclesiastes says, there's a time and a place for everything, And I wanted to talk to you about this one in Appendix 2, when it talks about classic examples of pride. Let me just read you one or two. It says this. Number one, right? Not wanting to talk with someone or spend time with someone because they don't quite measure up. And even as a Christian, you can get this kind of prideful soul, like, oh, this person, they're not even working, they're not doing this, not doing that. They don't speak, all of these different kind of things, like how you can kind of segregate yourself from each other, and you don't realize it, but you're doing it, So it's talking about that type of pride and wanting to turn the conversation to something that you've done great, where you ain't had praise because you led Kids Kingdom, or you made this thing, or you did that, or you went over to this mission, and no one said, oh, well done, good job. Yeah, so those are indicators of where you've got pride. And everyone, people say, oh, she's so humble. Everybody has pride. It manifests in different ways in different people. And this book really highlights where you can have pride and you didn't even know. So I'd highly suggest you get this book, read it with your mentor, your faith mentor. If you don't have a faith mentor, go and get one. And this book will really help you to see, where do you need to be more like Christ and less like yourself? So where you can be more humble and less prideful. Does that make sense? So I highly suggest you get this book. And if you've read this book once, you need to be reading it every single year, because pride is something that happens on a daily basis. You always got to let me just keep myself in check here, So of course, get this book. It's going to change your life. And as always, have a great and amazing day, ladies.